Immigrant advocates are bracing for a massive sweep of arrests and detentions amid reports that a roundup in at least 10 major cities could begin this weekend. ICE officials would neither confirm nor deny a report on Thursday in the New York Times, citing multiple administration officials the newspaper did not name, that the sweep would begin Sunday. President Trump said last week that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement would begin a major sweep soon. Quote, no one arrested in the immigration raids should be deported within a fair court or a fair day in court, the American Immigration Council tweeted. We are recruiting and training immigration attorneys from around the country to ensure this happens. Well, joining us on 710 KURV is an immigration attorney, Pallavi Ahluwalia. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So I know it's probably a hectic day for you today, going to be a hectic weekend. What's it like for you right now?
Well, we're having a lot of people call us with concerns, especially the ones that don't have their papers right. As you all know, that I work mostly on the legal side of the immigration, but we do have some people who have fallen out of status that have filed to correct that. So this kind of announcement gives everyone cause for concern, and especially when it's announced, right? So if deportation or enforcement actions are happening or supposed to be happening all the time, but if it's an announcement, then that is kind of creating that fear, which it probably intends to. And I'm in Dallas, and Dallas is not one of the cities. Houston is, but Dallas is not. So it's one of the cities that's not right now being called out. So a little bit concern from people generally speaking, but not a huge amount, at least in the Dallas area.
Now, why do you think it was announced? You mentioned that ICE raids happen all the time. I know that previous administrations, the last one was known as the deporter-in-chief. It happens all the time, but why do you think President Trump decided to announce it this time?
I think he's coming true for his base. He's coming true to his base. He wants to tell people that he's tough against immigrants, especially the ones that are here without documents. So I think this is to prove that, because if you really wanted to enforce, then you won't make an announcement about it, correct? You would just kind of just do it. You would just be sneaky and just do it, but you won't get heads up to people so that they can quit work if they're illegally working anywhere, or just hide out, or just move away from town, or go out of town for the next several weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because this gives the opportunity to people that are here unlawfully to find ways to get out.
I think it's a political move, but then we've seen a lot of that all across the board from everyone. So this seems to go down into that thing. He first was doing it, and then he called it off. So, and then he said he would do it after 4th of July. Then he created a lot of controversy. Now, just to kind of make this happen in a big way, or an announcement to happen in a big way, maybe a deterrent also, and that may deter a lot of people who are trying to enter the border saying, oh my God, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But they also know it's not going to immediately happen. So it's not like the people at the border who are crossing in have this visibility into the future 10 years from there, right? All they are trying to do is to get across the border right now in whatever way they can. So this is not a huge deterrent to them. But of course, for the populations that live here, and there is also some merit to understanding that if these people have lived here, they have spouses that are, local people that are U.S. citizens, or they have kids that are born here, then if they don't have major criminal issues, then they should not be on the target list. Yes, they are here without paper, but they are the ones that should be fixed at some point.
Now, you bring up an interesting point. Who are the ones being targeted first? Because I've been hearing different reports that the ones being targeted are your criminal ones, the ones that have committed serious crimes.
So the ones that have outstanding, So the ones that have outstanding deportation orders, right, or that were in trouble with the law should be that first one that makes the list. But see, when you cast a dragnet, you're not going to be able to just catch those people. You'll catch a whole lot more. Right? So if it's a family of 5 that's living, one of them that was in trouble, do you think they're going to leave the rest of the 4 out? The ones that are not in the country with legal papers, but otherwise, they're here, right? They're not the ones that have outstanding deportation orders. So it's going to catch a whole lot more people.
The reports that President Trump or that ICE is going to have their or commit raids this weekend. Joining us on 710 KURV is Pallavi Ahluwalia. She's an immigration attorney.
Yeah, this is Davis Rankin. Do you know what the law says if they go and catch people who are here lawfully and people who are not, families? What do they do?
They would just be arrested and a lot of detention. I think.
Even the ones, but you couldn't arrest the
No, so you
citizens.
can't arrest U.S. citizens, of course, but they have to be able to prove that they're U.S. citizens, right? Or green card holders, or have legal paperwork that's going on. We've had a few times where somebody who has a family member that's applied and has shown up, and this is not relating to ICE, so I'll just clarify that, shows up to USCIS for an interview, gets arrested there and taken into custody, even though they have a legal option to remain here. So there are things that happen all over the place. When you're saying the legal rights for people who are not documented, they're not too many, right? But they can ask for an attorney. They can definitely refuse to say which country they're from or to provide any other information. So basically, like any other criminal who has the right to remain silent and other things, those are the same rights that anyone that is being apprehended can be given. A lot of people don't know that. They want to cooperate, right? But the effect is the same. But they can definitely ask for an attorney and say that I want to make a phone call. And if they don't have an attorney that they have pointed out, they can ask for anyone that can represent them for free. So they can ask for counsel.
Well, I just want to make sure, what has been the practice of the government in the past when they go to execute to pick somebody up because they have an order they've been ordered out of the country, but they're living in a family with people who are citizens or whose paperwork is in good shape? Do they take everybody? Do they deport everybody?
No, the U.S. citizen, of course, no. That would be a huge violation.
What if they're children? What if the children are legal but the parents are not? Then what do you do?
I mean, so to answer that, we had told a lot of families that were here without paperwork to appoint someone and to give a power of attorney and some instructions to another adult that had paperwork so that the kids would be taken care of, because the last thing you want is state bodies to start intervening and picking up the kids that can't be left alone.
Is this? I mean, we can posit this situation of legal and illegally here. How common is that circumstance in these circumstances?
Okay, so people, are we talking about mixed families?
Yes.
Where they'll be
yes.
US? A bunch, because they've people that have been here, the 11 million or some counting, that have been here over many, many years. So a lot of them didn't just come in with children. They came in and had children here. Yeah. Right? So they are U.S. citizens. They are here, part of our system. Right? So they will, there will be impact to them.
Okay.
So there is an enforcement priority that was, it's called prosecutorial discretion. That was always a part of how deportation raids or enforcement worked. So you had the highest priority for people that were criminals and had orders that were final orders of removal, and they should be the first one to go. And then under that, the lower priorities were the people that were had ties to the U.S., say, for example, U.S. citizen children, spouses, and all of that, right? And under them were DACA kids, right? So people that came in as kids here into the country and were brought in by their parents. But we've heard, and there was a case that we'd heard from New York a few years back, I'd like to say, in which somebody who was a DACA person went to a military base to hand out pizza and got arrested. Yeah. Right? So remember that one?
I do remember.
So they've been, and that had somehow protection under the DACA, right? And that wasn't given regard to, and I'm sure attorneys that the person hired eventually would have been able to impact some change and to keep that person in the country. But we've heard stories that are all over the place, and there is a right of the government to arrest the criminals and to send them out of the country for sure. But the impact on the other communities around them or even their family members will be there for those people.
We perhaps we'll revisit this after the weekend with you and see what the result of this is, at least what makes the news. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pallavi.